what's going on, guys? Chris Bonner here, Power Training TV, everything power athletic related. So as you may have well know, this week I'm releasing my brand new program, Athletic Calisthenics. It's basically the only bodyweight program that I know of that's designed specifically for power athletes. You know, there's a lot of great stuff going on out there with calisthenics right now, and I just figured, you know, there's a lot of people without weights, and if they play basketball, football, baseball, swim, track, whatever it may be, here's a weight training program, a training program that's consisted basically around your body weight. You don't need anything, you can do it in a park. So to go a little bit further today, I want to go ahead and explain complex training. Now, complex training is the main variable that I utilize in my athletic calisthenics, and I want to go ahead and touch on that for you. First, I'll explain how it is, how we utilize it in regular resistance training, and then I'm going to explain how I utilize it in my body weight program. So if you do use weights, this is still going to be beneficial to you, because if you're looking for a goal, if you will, as far as an explosive movement, you're sprinting, you're jumping, this is going to help propel that, if you will. So actually, just to give you a heads up before I even start, I put this little note right here. There was a study done, there's a bunch of studies done actually, but there's a study done where they compare complex to compound training. Complex training meaning they take a heavy resistance and then they follow it with a vertical jump, and then they use compound training where basically they do heavy resistance one day and then another day they do speed and plyometrics. Now they put these guys, I think it was like 30 males over the course of you know, a 6-week training program, and then they retested them, and the guys who followed the complex training as opposed to the compound training gained a higher vertical jump. They've also done this with other studies where they're testing it down to regular resistance training. They've also done it where it's just jump training, and this is shown that it's had a little bit better parameters. So if you guys are interested in that, I think his name is Mahalik. That's a research he did back in 2008. All right, so to get into this mix real quick. Complex training is essentially heavy resistance exercise. Let's say a squat, where we heighten the nervous system, right? We're doing a sub-maximal squat, let's say 3 2-rep max, and we're heightening the nervous system. We're heightening the posterior chain. Lower back, the glutes, the hamstrings are all firing, right? The nervous system is firing the glutes. What we're doing after that is we're following that with an explosive movement. Let's say a vertical jump. Now, a vertical jump utilizes the same posterior chain and same musculature, same system, if you will, that the squat does, the glutes and hamstrings. So what we're saying is by heightening the central nervous system, we can go ahead and translate that onto a vertical jump. And what happens is there's a thing called a PAP, a post-activation potentiation. This is the term they gave it, basically the phenomena that makes the vertical jump more explosive, if you will. Their explosive capacity increases. Okay, so a PAP, just to go a little bit further into that, a PAP is, like I said, it's a volitional production of force in the skeletal muscle. So we just did a heavy squat. Boom, right after that, the central nervous system is just firing to the posterior chain, and now we're going to take that heightened nervous system and go produce that vertical jump. They say this has a 1 to 4 minute window, depending on the heavy resistance training that you follow. Typically what I've seen was anywhere from 10 to about 30 seconds is great to be able to utilize a PAP. What they believe, there's 2 ways that they're quantifying this PAP, is a twitch contraction. So basically, essentially what they're saying is, imagine you being able to, you know, do that squat and we just sit there, right? And they hook the EMG or something to measure your nervous system there, or the contractibility in that muscle. And what that's saying is that if you just rested, they would see another twitch in that muscle, if you will, because the action potentials are firing through that motor recruitment pattern that you just accomplished. One more note real quick. Type 2 fibers produce a higher amount of PAP, or a higher level of PAP, if you will. So more people designed in a as a power athlete are going to utilize at PAP a lot more. The other theory, the other hypothesis that they use is that myosin to actin. So let me try to explain this as best as I can. This is a kind of a bad drawing, so forgive me. Imagine this is a myosin light chain, and this is your cross bridges. This is your actin here, or imagine a cross bridge, I'm sorry, and imagine Velcro, right? So we all understand that when we're doing a muscle contraction, we're essentially pulling, and the myosin heads are connecting to actin, and it allows you to have that taut muscle. So I like to use the example of Velcro, all right? Now imagine in this situation that your Velcro is like this, and imagine myosin is that one rough one, imagine actin is that soft one that connects to the rough one, right? If you're further away, well, how long is it gonna take you to make that muscle contraction? What they're saying, what they're hypothesizing through PAP is that the myosin heads are actually turned up a little bit more. So what we'll use in the Velcro example is they're a lot closer. So the minute that you want to turn those on to do that vertical jump, it's right there to go ahead and turn that on in the skeletal muscle. So those are the two ways that they're quantifying that. But that's essentially complex training in a nutshell. I know I'm scatterbrained and I'm all over the place, guys, but bear with me. I'm trying to throw out a bunch of little tidbits and ideas for you. So how does this relate to body weight training? So what I did was I utilized a couple methods that I learned. You know, when I played football in Arizona, I used to travel 4 hours north to a guy named Jay Schroeder and Charles Maka. Now these guys were the same guys that I believe trained Adam Archuleta. I bought his video when I was a kid, and I was like, you know, that was my life. Everything was performance, everything was training. And when I got a chance to go out to Arizona, I knew I wanted to get with these guys because I wanted to learn what they did. I wanted to have more tools for my toolbox when I wanted to help you guys out, right? So I go up there, 4 hours away, I'm driving north. I think it's like in somewhere near Phoenix or Scottsdale or something like that. I go and I train. These guys are basically immersing me in isometric type training. Basically what they believed was they were putting the muscle on the biggest stretch they possibly could and then isometrically holding that, and what that was going to cause was it was going to force more and more and more intricate motor neurons to fire in that muscle for you to be able to utilize them. So I thought in my head, wow, if complex training is utilizing a load or heavy resistance training where we're heightening the nervous system, remember, it's all about the stimulus. It doesn't matter if you put 1,000 pounds on your back or if you are recruiting the same amount of motor patterns through an isometric hold. Actually, that's a bad example, but you get what I'm saying. All that matters is the central nervous system is heightened. So what I utilized was I said, let me think, how can I compensate load for body weight? So what I did was I utilized the primal movement patterns, which I believe every athlete needs to have down, and then branch out from there. And all I did was I said, hey, let's go ahead and heighten the nervous system through isometrics and tempo. Now tempo is another one where I'm going to talk about it further here in a little bit. Isometrics is basically where you hold it in that position like I explained, and tempo is basically where we're going through a full range of motion but we're slowing it down, and the reason why we're slowing it down, the time under tension, is not to build muscle but rather to recruit as many motor units as we possibly can to that group of muscles we're working. So essentially what I'm going to say is let's give an example for body weight. Heighten the central nervous system. Let's go into a full deep, not a full deep, I'm sorry. I don't want you resting on any of your joints or ligaments or anything. I want you extracting as much as you can out of the muscle. So let's say an isometric squat at 90 degrees, right? We go ahead and hold that. Now all those muscles are firing and turning on the glutes and hamstrings for you to be able to sustain that position, right? Then we shake that off, and we allow ourselves to go perform a box jump or a vertical jump. And what we're doing is in that next 1 to 4 minute window, we want to be able to produce a higher vertical jump. Now, I can't say that research is backing that this is a better outlet than heavy resistance training than an actual loaded squat. But I will tell you that if you don't have weights, this is a good way to heighten the central nervous system, and that is proven through isometrics, okay? So that's how we're utilizing it. That's how I'm gonna wrap it up. I'm gonna wrap this complex training up. Sorry, I know I've been going all over the place, but I hope you guys can utilize this training, whether it be squatting with a barbell on your back or squatting by holding it isometrically and turning that into a higher vertical jump. I'm Chris Barner, Power Training TV. If you guys are interested in that bodyweight training program, Athletic Calisthenics, I'll drop a link right below and I'll holler at you guys next time.